classroom in Joslyn Center, Alhambra, Southern California. This is the second session of the spring quarter, and we'll continue to work on this luxuriant landscape. And we have some homeworks in progress. Homework in progress. Okay. This is Diane's. Do you want to hide your names so I don't want?
I don't care.
Oh, you can. Anybody else? I just say one student, a different student. So this one student, yeah. So she did 3. Oh, that's my first suggestion is I know you're very productive. So maybe we should spend the time on 1 instead of on 3 next time. So you really you can do some partial study on different paper, but on the final one you don't want to experiment with that because it may, so if you make
they're all experiments.
I know. Okay, I like all of them. Some not finished, some more finished. I think you have got the mood right. The early spring or late autumn, still have trees, very luxuriant, I feel. And on some details, this one is more detailed, this one is this one not finished. I think, as you can see, the unfinished ones maybe feels more like a winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because so try not minimalist, I think, when you finish this one, so you don't get too busy on the top of the mountain. I'll discuss that when I come do my next step. And it's also cautioning me not to overdo anything. I do like this dark trees against the light contrast. And you have a lighter version here. It's more blending. It's also good. So it's all possible. I think you can experiment with the wash as we proceed, just to make the white into snow, maybe. I think it's great exercise. I see the different pattern, like a large and a small alternation grouped together, have a good reason. This dragon man kind of shape. It's a very good idea to keep an eye on the whole, as I wrote in the article, the Gestalt. Gestalt. It's the wholeness. So when you do detail, you focus on the detail. When you do another area, you still focus on the whole. So the focus is the whole, not the detail. That's my idea after learning the Gestalt. Because it's all part of the wholeness. When we make this pattern, I just learned from Diane. You try to do one tree at a time, right?
Yes.
The front from front to the back. Yeah, that's a good idea. This we applied the principle of continuity. How they cross each other. So you see through different layers. That's a.
I used colored pencil, different colors on the.
Code then.
Yeah, to trace out the. Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
That's smart. Interesting. Yes, this way. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. But I see this tree goes this way. So this way, it's a little bit. You have to reinterpret. Deconstruct it. Yeah. As long as you can justify it, you may have different solutions. So that's sometimes I would keep the ambiguity, as long as they don't. Because sometimes if you are in doubt, leave it out or leave it ambiguous. Ambiguous. If you try to define it, you might create more conflict.
This was a problem for me.
Yes,
right
so this area, I think not necessary to define sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
So again, the wholeness is more important. Okay, So you did very good, very
That's you.
nice. And this is
Keep it.
Alan. Okay. I like the dryness of the field, you know, very luxuriant. So we next step we will try to make
I'll just put it right
the
here.
dry strokes a little bit more moisturized, so that they don't feel like too dry. And even when you paint it, you still have, you can use light dry ink, not the dark dry ink. So that will feel a little more balanced. Yeah. I think this is very nice. This tree is really good. Yeah, just keep working on. It will be very nice. Yeah, everybody did a great composition. Did you draw or you traced? You traced the pattern, or do you put the painting behind? No? Oh, you just draw it.
Wow.
That's
You
great.
did-
That's
great.
amazing.
Then
You
that's
should have a
even
plus.
better.
That's
Yeah, that's-
amazing.
yeah,
I can't do that.
That's a
Too
plus. Okay, you got the
get an
extra
A+.
points for that.
Yeah.
This is a trace, but that's good to start with. After, even when you trace, you don't have to, you really, 100%. Everybody trace, and the result will be still different with your own.
Well, I broke it
personality.
into parts.
Yeah.
So I just did the mountain part.
Yeah, that's a good idea to have the main formation there. So-
And the dots, I couldn't get the dots. I must be using the wrong brush.
Okay, yeah, the mustard brush. Are you using that? And then you may have the ink is not too. You should wet the brush and then load the ink pretty full, so it's
Okay.
much more moisturized, more ink
Wetter?
than wetter than the line work.
It was fun because there was a lot of different brush strokes.
Right,
had to use
the
gel.
round one,
Yeah.
you need to practice just like a little bit rolling or something,
Yeah, I did that.
just very quickly. Or let it drop.
Yeah,
The
here's
best
the
is let it drop. If the ink
It's
is,
the dots.
yeah, that's a good, like
That's
a
a
paper dots. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the ink is not like just let it barely touch the paper.
Oh, barely touches. Okay,
yeah.
maybe that's what I'm
Because
doing.
it's too dry.
Uh-huh.
To dry, you have to work on it. If it's
Okay.
wet enough, it just do it itself, just like chopping on. Okay,
No, but I had fun with that one.
yeah. Not to go dark too early. I think that's
Okay.
my suggestion. Save that to the last stage.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
So just stay with that first tone.
Yeah.
May I see yours? Okay, that's it.
Come on, Maggie. It's always better than.
Okay,
you.
now we're going to go back to the easel here. I got my director's chair today. Thanks, Alan, for suggesting me to sit down to paint. So I got.
Chop this down and then put the chair in there. That's
I'm going to record this one also. Oops. Okay. For those of the viewers on YouTube, just join us. This is a second session of the class. We're copying a scroll painting done by a teenage girl. My first relationship. So it's a memory of her, a tribute to her. It was my inspiration for all those years to study this traditional art, because I was in the revolutionary realism tradition before I met this lady, and started to study Mustard Seeds Garden Manual of Painting. So This is and her favorite artist was Wang Yuanqi, the artist I wrote about last week in my blog, and that aesthetic concept of luxuriant landscape is the artistic conception or what do you call this concept? Yeah, we try to get. Okay. Okay, I got this one. So this is the brush I use. I will use just this one. So try to use simple one. And when we come to wash, we may use softer brush. So I have the print on the back, and I have the original next to me. Actually, this stage is basically if you have read the article on the 6 canons, one of the last canon was copy and transferring. So this is very important to in the past, they don't have this copy machine, but transferring copy master is the only way to carry on the tradition. And it's also a learning process, right? So one of the canon is the placement of objects. So the placement of object is what we solve in the tracing part. So actually, that's why I use very light ink to trace. You can use charcoal or pencil. After that, you can take the underpainting away, the template away, and then just do your own. Okay, and then you can use other form of reference. So I'm going to just finish my outline, then I will take the painting off so you can see it more clearly. Maybe that's the way I will go today. So the ink I'm going to use, I mix a little bit this ink cake with a bottle ink, sorry. I may just need a drop of ink because I need most of the painting is light. I saw some of the work just too dark. When you copy the Mustard Seeds Garden manual of painting, the woodblock printing, people tend to use too dark because that's the only tone you see there. It's dark, but you have to learn the ink tonality from other copies, like photocopies or the teachers. What you So get some paper towel in your hand. And remember we talked about lipping, or that's how you do some very controlled shape, like because this is clean now. I just show you the way they do this. So they don't use any palette, just using lips. And okay, for the light, I think I need a little. Let me just use a little empty seal or something here. Oh, here I got a plate. I'll just use a saucer. So you need to dilute. Just make it light. Put it on here. And then test it with a paper towel. Or you can use a piece of paper, maybe same paper, so you can see the tone and the absorbency. So I dry the brush, the heel of the brush like this. So it's not too wet. And I just draw with this like just the layout and some. I hold the brush like a pencil. You can use the calligraphy gesture if you want. Okay, so at this point, I just concentrate on finish the layout and try to find the flow. One of the 6 principles of what do you call the Gestalt is continuity. So there might be something we call it a closure, continuity and the closure. I'm not sure which applies, but you know what I mean. Your people's mind tend to fill in the gap, so you need to. But for you as the game designer, you know, if you try to play the trick with people's mind, you leave the gap. You leave the gap. Leave the opening and let the people let it close in the mind of the viewer, just like the Panda Express logo. You know, they don't have outline or the contour, but everybody can see the panda just with 4 big blots of ink, right? Standing for the mask of the eye and the ears of the panda. If you record that, that's a typical example of in design. In the painting also, when you design a letter like an A, you know, you don't draw. If you write A like that, nobody will pay you. And if I write the A like this, I'll get big money for that, maybe. Okay, yeah, or F or T, same, you know, that kind of the letter. So that's and we do this on the painting also. Okay. And here we have this distant layer, this remote mountain. You can use the same tone as the sky. So this could be done at the same time as a wash. It's gray, almost like the background color. This one, this is reference. So because like we talked about, to do it, all this angular. You know, everybody has this tendency to duplicate shapes exactly the same, like a camelbacks. Well, if you make the, we can correct that later when we do the wash. Or I do the wash right away. And we'll do that. So I will use a softer brush. You can use water if you're not sure to do a tentative contour, and then if it works, you can continue. Otherwise, just wait it dry, so you can do it again. We just make a whole lot of light ink, and this may be 3 or 2. You can start maybe 2 to 3 in the scale of 10 maybe. So it's almost like a brush wash water in the in the yeah, just dishwash. Just it's kind of hard to. If you do it at the last, you probably the water in the brush tank, the water tank will do this. So almost like this. I do like the it's a little darker, so a bit more contrasty. If you want to eliminate strokes, you can spray some water. But this paper is semi-sized. It does not it has less watermark between strokes. It's more forgiving. Understand? If you use a good raw shuan or unsized shuan, it will create the watermark we struggled with to create the icicles. When you come to this part, you don't want that. So it's always depends on the situation. So I'm going to just do this. So it's very important to follow the right direction. So the sky should not go vertical, right? So I think I'll try to do this. And if you want a soft, you use the heel of the brush. If you want a hard defined line, I do this with the tip of the brush pointing to the contour. Okay. If you want a softer tip, you can touch a little bit water. That's very important. So you can have a soft edge right there around this mountain. Okay. I have this piece of tape to remove. Okay, let me. This part has some kind of flying white, kind of a lighter. It's a good idea to complete the load, so it creates a natural gradation for you. You don't have to worry, but if you try to reload after each stroke, it will be brought some, or what do you call this, uneven. Yeah. But some unevenness you can see has the energy itself. So the professional will make it very even like this. So, but the student may leave some, that's just like John Marine's sky. John Marine is a very famous modernist. John Marine, I think, is an American watercolorist, a modernist. He does sky just like that across 3 strokes. So his aesthetic is like you don't have to. I think Wang Yuanqi has the same aesthetic idea several hundred years ago, like John Marine. So the form itself has value, has its own life. You don't have to use the ink and the stroke or color to resembling the nature or the object. So your stroke is more important. Yeah. Okay. So there's another line like the mountain going up. That's an eye stopper. This direction. So just stop there. And to foil out this part, you can do the outer. So the shading usually goes to the outside of the contour, right? And you can use dry wash. So this part could have some texture because it's part of the mountain. This is the sky, it's the air. So you're supposed to don't have texture there, right? But here you can have some texture. Again, if you want soft, I just used some water in the tip, so that gives me very soft. I use the heel of the brush to paint. That's a softer, blurry stroke. And here I can do the wash first before the trees, but there are little white like trunk and some snow there, so I can use just dry brush to do the atmosphere. This is more like a watercolor. I think he should probably did the wash later, but because I have this brush and I want to exhaust it. So this is how you make this white mountain even more stand out by adding a little bit gray. But I see a big white clouds there, so it's like this going. It lifted the brush, so it goes into the voids, and this one goes up and down like that. So like airplane taking off, like that, sweeping both ways. So they kind of connect the qi. Okay, let me finish the drawing. Okay, here is actually this one is in the front, I think. And this is there's another trail. There's a turn. Is some pose there, and there is. I'll use more definitive strokes later. Here is another ambiguous area. I think she might wanted to do another plan, but it was kind of abandoned construction or something. So she just washed. Well, I think yeah, it could still be another dimension or another plane. I think bank. So it's like a peninsula or somewhere in the water, right? So let's do that. So if you have some dots, it will show. But sometimes, like I commented on some of the work, you can leave some ambiguity. If everywhere is focus, there's no focus. So the focus is more like the here and the here on this side. Right? I'll just finish the layout. We will work on depths even more later. So actually, this building has a lot of detail. I can see. It's like an activity center. Big house. With a double roof and big roof here and another roof on the top outside the frame, an eave there. some poles or pillars. This line should be straight. And just go slow. So it's good not to just a little, just like this, not just. Actually, I did that, so that's why I want to avoid. Okay, so some windows here. And I see some underwater pose. Maybe reflection, I'm not sure. Reflection. They don't do any reflection, by the way, in what Chinese landscape painting. Well, let's just do the wash to hide it, to blur it. So this brush strokes, this wash is more vertical versus the horizontal sky. I think that's subconscious or conscious. I don't know. But it does look like reflections in the Western painting. That's good. I like, but there are also horizontal ones, like ripples here. Interesting. So you can even indicate that, and just finish that with the heel of the brush, light going up there. Some ambiguous shape in the water there. The trail goes behind, I think. So there's a cliff, under the cliff. There's some shaping. This is a side dimension on that. I need some more line work, I know. But sometimes you can do the shading or shaping first. Contemporary artists try to do this, even when they copy ancient masters. They also, try to reproduce the antique paper color first. It gives to make the paper look old first before they do the. So they do the wash. I mean, as atmospheric wash or just dye the papers. They don't start from the white paper. Here is the a little hole under the tree, and then some darks. We'll do that. There's still yin and yang. Yang on the top, the lid part. So I just kind of wash out the yin and the yang before I do the texture. Like I'll dry it before I do those vegetation. So this is a dry, light, scampering or scratching wash, dry wash, but not too thirsty. If you want to keep the moisture just enough, why do the dry brush? It creates the luxuriant feel. And you can see all the shading goes on top of a contour. It's a negative painting. It's just like cutting in the shape. So this color is very light. This this ink tone. Just go slow if you're not sure. Just go from build it up slowly with layers. Okay, so I need to make that area kind of dark. Yeah, when I date her, I try to teach her how to do the wash because she doesn't do the wash. She just use hatchings. Yeah. I rely on too much on the wash. That's my modern approach. So just let you know, this is just different approach. But I use dry wash instead of wet the paper. Because when I remember she was shocked. I wet the whole painting and start washing. She never. I mean, the ancient people maybe not do that. Yeah. So they don't really do wet into wet, kind of not work on the rice paper, I think. So just shade the outside of the contour, and I try to maybe use this a little bit on the top. Just give myself enough information to work with. I see the shape of those almond heads, almond mounts, or what I call this, chunks. They call fantou in Chinese. Actually varies greatly in shape and the size, right? So it creates interesting rhythm. So just concentrate on the outer side of the top side. So this line is actually very short, almost like dots. Not so. If there are the trees there, so this is like the most detailed, and this become less and less. Consider they're the same kind of. Yeah, trees on top of the mountain maybe small, not small, but lower because the wind, cannot grow too tall like foot of the mountain. This part is too blossom. I think we need to flatten it. So maybe I can use a little bit water sprayer. If you think those are mistakes, you don't want to copy, right? So that's your judgment. If you like it, you can think it's a modern interpretation, like a Jean Marie style sky or clouds. Mary. Yeah, I think that's how pronounce the last name. I think. Okay, this part may be darker because in Western theory, the light mountain or river bank has a darker reflection. And this is actually true when you look at the real winter's landscape we painted, like the icing class, the water should look much darker, right? So let me just add a little bit more. On this roof, it's also dark. If you don't want to stand out, and just a little bit more. I think I got confused. When I started copy, I lost myself. I have to keep an eye on my own painting. Oops. Yeah. Oops. Okay, here we need to define those bank with this first. Oops. Yeah, when you go to those lines tend to blurred. Yeah, this just water. It takes experience to tell, because I have to trust my experience. You would dry it lighter. Okay. Okay, let's let me take the I dry it and then take the underpainting out so we can see better what exactly it is now. I think the best time to stop is not completely finished. So it's about 75% maybe the most. Some argue that's 55%. sorry about the noise. Okay, let me move this template so you can see better, because template has a background, dark background. Let me just take the whole thing out, I think. Okay, now I just and put it back. It's still wet. Still not dry enough. Yes, this corner I missed. I need to make up. I think I just make it up. Yeah. Okay. We're good. Just make sure it's not dropping. Let me take a look. Yeah, so you can see that we need to add some medium dark. I'll just use this brush still. So go back to the medium or dark. Let me finish the foreground still. Okay. We need to add some dots. And this, traditionally we call it nail head or nail dots from Bading, how to say it, pouring from the mud. Yeah.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, you can't be at the
So
top,
it's
it's the bottom.
So you can use continued dots to define a shape. Squeeze out the shape. And some part in the middle of this kind of this shape, you know, this is the darkest part usually, yeah. And then you shade the top like that. That's the idea of this. So the principle is shading the top, not the bottom of the contour. I just use hatching. Maybe that's what this painting is. This the sample, the original is printed on this black and white copy, like Alan showed us in the last class. We call it a colo plate. I don't know if that does make any sense. there's no detail you can see, even use a magnifier, right? The resolution is probably 100 or something, 100 dpi. So you have to kind of figure out, and at the time, we don't have access to the paintings in museum either. So a lot of guessing and so not relying on magnifier, more relying on your heart eye sees, mind eye sees. Yeah, so you can just create that feel. So that's why this painting is so different than you copy from a very clean, sharp copy of today. You might be bound by that more, than you are actually. So because the increased contrast on those black and white copy, it's more three-dimensional. I think somehow. So the dark really tends to exaggerate it. I think to be exaggerated, but limited to the right place. I mean the hollow.
Good morning. Is this the Ramona room? No. Sorry. Excuse me. Pardon me.
This is Valencia's room, right? Valencia. They have a name for the room. Very cultural. Okay. So I have a little dragon vein here to do. Dragon vein, the ridge, the spine of the dragon. You see, I don't really want to wear my reading glass. I just paint the whole picture. You paint depth, not detail. If you paint the pattern, like for me, I don't really see the individual, like a stroke. I see there's a dragon man, okay, at the spine. So I define that top line, and then I stop at the bottom of another dimension in front of that. So this white line I didn't really draw, but you can see that it just. Okay, and Wang Yuanqi, the artist, we try to copy his style. He used several very important concepts in his writing. One is dragon man, another is opening and closing. 开合, opening and closing. I think it's similar to closure right now. I think, yeah, closure. So you have an opening and you have a balance. Like this rock is opening, there's the small balance of that. It's called closing. Or you can close on this too. So they always find when you build a landscape, they use the same term. When you build a miniature landscape in bonsai, so you have a major rock and then you put a closing rock, a balanced rock. Yeah. Oops. That's dangerous. Just put it inside. I think it's more important to hold the paper towel in hand, not the sample painting. just go slow. And if not dark enough, don't continue. I think just let it dry so it build up more layers and so they don't blend into each other. The continuity is very important. Even you have bricks, but the flow should not stop. This is this dimension. This rock has a split of 3 from this single piece right behind. I think it's a. And then on top of this, you add some darks. And this could be a little bit more defined, like little bushes up and down. Actually, this is a very strong contrast area here. And some little trees, very calligraphic. And stop at this T point or Y point. Okay, I think I violate that rule. It goes down a little bit of the top line but that's okay. Some trees do come inside. Because this is in the foreground, we can see that. But usually you texture the top, not the bottom of the contour. Okay. Here we have some texture behind on the bottom of this cliff. That's a closure. Like stacking cards, it has a perspective, just like. And here we have another shading part. Oh, there's some angular, very powerful angular, like this one you can see right there. It's, oh, I tried not to make it rounded. I missed that. Okay, let's do it again. So very, very little. We call the principle of treat the ink as gold to conserve your ink, as gold. But at some point you splash ink as water or like a pouring ink. So this is besides the pouring ink part, you need to conserve your ink as gold. It's a contrast. Yeah, thirsty and wet work. Okay. It's still wet, really wet. Wait a while. Let's see this. What we call another is approximate what's it, grouping together similar things, so they form a larger shape or a whole shape. That's what we call the approximatity. What do you call it? You group small rocks into a pattern or something you want to. So the key is to group similar or common face, right? Common face. You use the same kind of color and the same stroke to group things. So the tree and the rock are different in different stroke. It's consistent if you use the same kind of stroke for tree and same stroke for rock. Wait, okay, it's dry now. I can go over a little bit the roof of that double roof. So you can see how the light and dark works together. You have to wait it dry to restate that. You use some light to shape this part. So if you want the gradation from grayer to light, so you go. If you go down, you increase the press. If you go up, you lift the brush. It will create a gradation by pressure. Same value, right? So if I go down, you kind of landing like that. So you press gradually. Or you go up, you lift it like that. It's a little bit too dark. What we can do, wash it out. Yeah. Just wash, blur it. Okay, here's a little small shape I missed. You can just wash it up first. And then when it's dry, you can add more. Maybe there's another shape there. I tend, my personal style is more rely on wash. Or dry wash if I could improve that. I think just dry brush wash. Okay. Yeah, lots of work on the top still. Maybe we can summarize into. I'll get the important ones first. So I see this one. I didn't really do much, but I think this one it's another focal point echoing this lower part. So it will be dark, relatively the dark groove. A brick that kind of like a groove and individual contrast. Stone is really a individual shape that's different, standing out from the other ones. And I see she just used the top, like a little tree trunk to define the top line. So there's no contour, I see. And then just the skyline, little skyline there. And this one goes up a little bit. So this time, if there's a building, there will be like an antenna kind of thing to serve this purpose, just like a little verticals standing out. And I try to find that chill or this character here, if I could. Somewhere, it's right here. I see one right there. It buried. So this goes. This is small. This is a Y shape. Go there. Okay. You know what? This painting is bigger than that, but I feel it's smaller. I don't have room for all the details. I already enlarged it. I still have no room for the little details. Just have to omit some, I think. I'm just cutting in the shape of the contour with this hatching on the top, on the left. And there's it should be a little bit perspective. I think it goes lighter and smaller. So this is closer, this is farther. Okay. And let's just do this little dragon here. There's a lot of little dragon there. And this is a dark area. Okay. Here is another possible this chill division there. Okay. Just like that. You can use scampering or side brush stroke to shortcut. Use light and then you go back to the dark. Cezanne has this kind of stroke, chippy stroke, and he learned from new, not new, Paleolithic stone tools, old age stone tools, the chopping marks, because his traveling partner is a scientist, geographic or ancient geological artist, and taught him about the stone tools they collect. So he applied those X-cut, not X-cut, just like a, yeah, well, I call it X-cut because in Chinese painting we call that X-cut strokes, chopping strokes into his watercolor. That's, but he does the masses. I see lots of masks here, so we can apply the same technique as Cezanne does. So Wang Yuanqi is known as Cezanne, Chinese Cezanne, because both of them emphasize on the form, stroke itself, not the. So they discovered the value of the form. The composition, the underlying structure, the shape, the geometric shapes, or so there are major shapes and then smaller shapes among that. We need to make clear. So here is another shape right there, and this horizontal shape goes in brick. So there's continuity here. So it goes stop by this platform and then going up, I think, and then goes to the right. Tendency goes to the right. Emphasize on that tendency, structural tendency. It's important. To make this platform wider, we need to work on the top of this line and then the bottom side dimension. Let me see. So this one is closure shape. I use more voids. I try to apply the design principle of closure. I leave a lot of openings, maybe. Some next cut there, verticals actually, to make it easy. Okay, the white, little white continues this concentrate white. It goes behind this and stop there. There's a little white behind that. Okay, so this is a pattern I see. This white ridge going up and down. I lost that one. I just do the wash first so I can see. When the brush is dry, you can go slow, so it's not too how to say, too dry. It still have some moisture. Okay. And you can also immediately add some water if it's too dry, just to moisturize that. There's a lot of small space there. I lost count of those shapes very easily. Okay. concentrate on your own. We got and reorganize it along the line of this. And the principle is large divided around the small, or the small surrounds the large, alternating. There are 3 horizontals echoing this part. So when I look at horizontal, I look at this one, this one, this. So make all the horizontals into a pattern. I think that's how we look at it. Supposedly, let me see. I think I missed all the horizontals. These are squarish lines. So let's make it back if I could. So this one goes like that. So this is how, when you got lost, you got chaos, you try to find order with the dragon man, or this pattern to redefine the shapes. And you can redesign it actually along the same along this design idea. Yeah, it's like a pattern of a scale, or if you do it that way, it would be better than you look at individual blocks. Okay, I try to make small and medium and large. You see, this is large in this area, maybe. But I also want to make these top planes into a pattern. That's what I'm working on now. Okay. Okay, that's one. Here's another one next to each other. And then the horizontal ones divided by those little small ones. So when I see the AI generated image, it's all come from like a jammed TV screen and start to emerge gradually. That's the same way we work. Our human mind, we tend to start from chaos and then try to find order. They call this noise. They use the word noise and seeds. The seeds actually determines the outcome. Yeah, seeds is the mind image. It's a prompt like the seed is a concept. It's a written text. So using the seeds, you can generate from a sand, like a chaotic sand. Yeah, just like interesting to see how this computer artificial intelligence find the image from those text.
So AI uses a seed?
Seed is what you give it. Everybody has a unique seed generated from the prompt.
Okay.
From prompt, and then it becomes a kind of a formula or something. I really don't understand. And it's not readable. If you use that seed, it will generate similar result. Yeah. So seed is shared by some artist. So you can use other seed to generate same style of image. if you know the game, of this modern, and you understand more the ancient game of this. How the Chinese characters is invented. We don't know, but it's so modern, like computer science. But it's just natural, and when I see birds building nests, it's like a super engineer and artist, so natural. But they just got this DNA memory, maybe. Who taught them? I don't know. But when we reproduce this kind of in architecture, you have to use a lot of computer power and calculation, right, to do this. Dark against the light. So I just put some grays behind this, but it must be part of that backdrop of mountain. Those dotted lines, the continuity is very important. Don't lose that chi, the flow of continuities. So they are parallel lines relatively. In a uniform angle or something that defines the plane of this vertical or slope. Okay, I'm getting there, I think. And then now I just add some more verticals. And when I start, yeah, you can just think of this as a horizontal and verticals, a pattern of that. Okay. Try to understand when you copy, so that when you later you can create your own. Try to understand the idea. Okay. I see a pattern of almost like a linear perspective, like from large to small here, right? That's the pattern, and yeah, and try to tie this together with this character, so the shading falls into this right here in the valley of this formation. Okay, this becomes smaller than the front, much smaller. Although there's still large ones, but they're generally smaller than this middle ground. Okay, I use the principle of closure here. So I start some dark there and end here. So your eye will close something in between, right? You're filling the space in between. So on this the two lower corner of the curve is more solid, and then the top is open for closure. In the viewer's mind. Okay. So I just do this corner dark. So you understand when I learned this young artist, she just taught me how joyful she working on those darks and make the painting pop. So this is really important to put maybe 5 layers or 7 layers to get that dark enough, and don't evenly spread your ink, right? So that's if your dark is put in the right place, she will be very happy. The viewer will be very happy. So that's you learn from copy this. And you can see the dots or the little strokes form a line, right? But they are not a line, they're just dotted along the imaginative line or the underline of the contour. So people tend to group staccato notes together into a groove or something, a pattern in the as a line, as a linear, a connected part, yeah. And I see yin and yang contrast some there. And you can use this principle to create your own pattern and make it more, exaggerate, if you like. And this top line, although we may not really see in real life more trees behind, but I think it's a good idea to put some definition there, separate from the sky, and increase the contrast of the white. So it's just design idea. Or you can think they're observatory stations like on Mount Wilson. For the same reason, you can add those little darks on top of the mountain. Don't have to be artificial. It's like a little forest trees. They're pretty flat, slant down. Go down there, and there's a little cliff. Actually, I try not to use line. That's closure, not complete joy. if you complete everything, there's no game. So you try really hard to save unpainted paper. So pay more attention on what you don't paint. Yeah. So I think it's when you close that opening, there's no game of closure. So I missed it. That's it. Yeah. Okay, that's. It's interesting that this kind of painting is imaginary, but it still looks so natural, right? So you have to really. So that's the manifestation of Tao in the Song Dynasty. They have this principle. What do you call this? Tianli, heavenly principle, or universal principle theory. The neo Confucianists, they think the order in the heaven and the earth are the same in human society. Like a order, like hierarchy. The relationship between son and the father, and the emperor and the subjects are the same, like the mountains and the trees. The host and guest, dominance. the order of dominance. Understand? It's hierarchical. I think I'm a social history historian because when I enrolled in Washington University in Seattle, actually we come on the same plane. She was enrolled in the contemporary art, contemporary Chinese art, history. I tried to get into archaeology, but it's an anthropology field. I never studied anthropology. I did take anthropology in University of Washington, but I never enrolled in that department. I just because I studied historical archaeology. The fifth or the to maybe the mid-age Chinese society is an aristocratic society. Aristocracy, they call it the period of disunion. You understand? Yeah, that's a dark age in China, but the art flourished, and nonetheless, because people spend more time talking about the natural and art, the music, painting, everything. The art is most yeah. And then my dissertation is on social mobility, and I try to prove that even in aristocracy there is still a channel for social mobility, and as you see today even, so people like the emperor is from was pick people from non-aristocratic family background as their to counter the aristocratic families, something in every country, I think. Yes, it's a pattern, I think, and in every society, every culture, 5% of people have the 90% of resources. It's true in every society, even the democracy. So yeah. And but the belief in social mobility is so important. So later to develop this system of civil service examination to select officials from by examination. So everybody has the same fair chance to move up through that channel. It developed the class of gentry, or shi, what do you call this? Landed, actually. Land is the only capital, I think. So they have a lot of leisure time to do this art pursuits. And the landscape is developed, even they're in office, it's their other side of it's the balance of their city life, So they built gardens just like these paintings, and they it's called oil, like traveling in bed when you develop to paint where you have been or your imaginative landscape. So this kind of landscape is flourished in Song Dynasty. Become individual art, independent art. I mean, independent art from other like propaganda, human like figure painting or flower and painting, decorative painting. This art is considered the highest level of art. Yeah. It's interesting that a lot of artists they don't do flower and birds, they just do landscape, vice versa, because they're very different. Yeah. Landscape is much easier actually than flower and birds, because you can turn it trees easily. You can cover up your mistakes, right? The obscure part, I think we just painting. I just copy. I think it's a covered bridge or something. I think it's a covered bridge, but the bridge should have like a little bit verticals there, and maybe I mean the little bracket, the fence, what do you call it? So maybe we should have, but I don't want to add anything I don't really know. So this pole definitely is and this triangular shape support that pole. I think something. Just suggestively, what do you think is? So if the bridge is going to fall, doesn't matter. It's a painting, you know. Nobody would charge you. So make the shape more interesting, is more important than architectures. We can just shade a little bit on this vertical, like a wall or something. I think maybe that's enough. Then the trees behind, it's a little bit unclear, you know, which is which. But I think there's tree almost like this in the front. So maybe 4 strokes, get 1, like a horn shape. And the rest is just the verticals and the horizontal dashes. Because there are snows covered, so you can leave some bits of white in between those lines. And it's more important to keep the pattern going. So they look like a rhythm behind. Like some closer, like 3, and then maybe 1 or 2 separate a little bit. They're small and large, different heights, maybe vary the top a little bit. Here's another one standing out. Dry branch, I think. I'll just put some dots like that. There are some dark I will add later, so I just keep the options. And here's another bare branch, maybe some bush behind this. They're very hairy or feathery. Okay, and here we have a little groove. 10 minutes. Okay, let's see if we can finish. It's diagonal pointing to the right. That's eye closed. Directed attention back to the picture. So it's just like a bamboo, I think. So I just draw this, and there's some like those crab leg stroke in continuous. Like this, and then the left. Yeah, if you know how to do those leaf, the orchid blades is also helpful. It's just long lines crossing, bending. And then, oh, dry willow, that kind of thing, or bushes. But they are very fine line, defined line, fine lines. And stop at this. It's in the middle gap between these two pieces of rock, I think. And then there are some strokes, shading or shaping. Some artists, some scholars use the word shading. That's a Western concept. So some argue that it should use shaping. This Chinese concept is the wrinkle. Chinese word is wrinkle. Wrinkle is like your dried skin. Yeah. Like old people's face. This is the twin. There's a rock inside the river. Oh, here is the trail. That's a very important detail. And you get some sticking out heads of the horizontal blocks, maybe covered by stone, by snow. So there could be a little bit on the other side, I think. That's a curve on that corner. And yeah, this is the trail. And there should be a little pole underneath it. Pillow. Okay, vertical. You can have some linear perspective. So this is longer, that's become narrower. So there are perspectives, yeah. Okay, so that's the trail. And here is another trail. So this is the entrance of the painting, and we can see some maybe river masks. What's it called? I mean the boat. I don't see the boat, but they're packed behind this rock. Maybe.
I thought that was vegetation.
It depends on your knowledge of the ancient painting or style. But it doesn't matter if it's just something near the. You can put something here, maybe that become a harbor. Right.
Sure. It can be what you want it to be, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to emphasize on that. Just omit that. Okay. Yeah. So I just do it here. Well, it's subject to your interpretation. It doesn't matter. In painting, we just call it some verticals, maybe. And here is another rock. So this is a piece. I think this is interesting. She has an opening on top that stands for the snow. So she does this very consciously and very well to let your mind fill in this gap. Oh, I think I put the extra dots there. That's okay. That's a little another rock there. So that's a lot of interpretation and understanding going on of the unclear master copy that was she was going after. If I could find the original, it may look very completely different, but doesn't matter. If you get the idea of the ancient, that's what we try to learn. And here we can have a little bit verticals, Nili-Bading, it's like a nail pulled up from mud, they call it. Oh, here there's some branches I missed. It could be from this tree or something else. Doesn't matter. I think. I just squint. just squint. Accenting. So I see, Diane, you have a lot of leaves on this tree. Be careful with that. I see big, small, big, medium, and the small. Maybe this is how.
I got carried away.
Yeah, this small become a little bit too competing with the main trees. So the lichens on this tree could be downplayed. That's I learned from your experience. So maybe this this dots should be a little sparse, not so concentrated. Otherwise, so it just concentrates.
It looks like this a completely different tree.
Yeah, I think for me it's the concentration and disperse.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just too much fun.
Too much fun to do the dots. You like it? Yeah. So we have 5 minutes. Okay. Maybe we should save it till next time. I'll try to mount it to make it into a scroll when I finish. Okay. So we're not in a hurry. Okay. So you can come closer and what's your life? Okay, thank you.
You know, Henry, what I learned really is that the photocopy takes away the luxuriousness of it. It's just gone.
So you have to look at the original.
You have to look at the original.
Yeah, the
This
texture.
is just too contrasty, and I was looking at it going, mine doesn't look luxurious, but that's why, because it was.
Oh yeah, this texture you can feel it's not flat. Yeah.
And yours looks so luxurious.
Thank you, thank you.
I want to start over.
Yeah, come closer to look at it and give comments and questions. We're still recording.
Yeah.
Do you?
I have a little bit of sizing yet. I have not tried this on it, but I
What are
wanted
you
to.
using?
P and thick P.
I tried thick P. I thought it was hard to work with, but.
Well, it's rougher.
Yeah, that's why. You know, he's got such a
Light touch.
Mine is a little too heavy. So with
really
rough
heavy.
paper, it.
I think I'm debating on this this plan. This is vertical plan, right? The top is white, and this
Oh my
one.
gosh,
Look at that.
The teachers is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Teachers.
Yeah. Do I need to grade this vertical plan like this part? I'm not sure. I just leave it white.
I think leave it.
Leave it. Yeah. I think I try to be very loyal to the
It's
original.
really beautiful.
I like yours.
I do
better.
too.
I like yours too.
Yeah,
I like
too.
Yeah.
I like yours.
Yours is
Yeah.
really
Beautiful.
so
Yeah.
much
Full of life. And,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
depth.
Thank you.
and depth, yeah.
Thank
And you just don't doubt the snow.
And the symbolism is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried. Yeah, I think you can see a lot of accenting still missing. I would probably, but when I do accenting, I look at the
The
whole.
whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. So that's the darkest dark. I don't want any part compete with that.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. And
I mean, I'm gonna start over.
Well, we should do the whole class until we get it.
Yeah, I agree.
I love this.
Because there's so much to learn in this
Yeah.
particular.
I know. It's my pick from a pile. I only kept one, but that's the best.
There's so much in it, yeah.
Yeah.
Different kinds of strokes,
So,
shapes.
Yeah,
and it really takes
It's
time.
it's
It
my
does take
inspiration all over this 40-some years to be able to do that. So that's a dream come true for me.
it's better than the,
I agree.
They just like a snow. The
Yes,
snow,
yes,
Yeah,
But
I want-
that
I
one
really-
we don't know. Yeah,
I really want to
yeah,
develop.
So no color, huh?
yeah.
No,
no. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your suggestion. That's why I do better in class because your feedback, your energy is in this painting as well. So let me stop, let you get even closer. Stop the recording. Thank everybody for following on YouTube. See you next week.